Good morning, year 9. So this is your next lesson. This is going to be on the heart. So again, as we do in all of these lessons, please make sure you're familiar with the symbols. So when you see them on the slide, you know what to do. Okay, so we have your do now. On your whiteboards, I want you to write down as much as you know about the heart and the circulatory system as you can. This is a year 7 recap, so you're going to have to cast your minds back. Write down anything you can remember about the heart. So if you just pause the video, when you are ready, unpause and come back. Okay, perfect. So the big question is, what is wrong with this picture? Have an idea? If you have an idea, just write it down on your whiteboard. What is wrong with this picture? Okay, so the first question we're going to start off with is, why do we need a circulatory system? Think about it, write down any ideas that you have on your whiteboards. So if you just pause the video, write down as many reasons why do you need a circulatory system. Have a look at the picture to help you if you don't understand. So, you need it because it transports substances such as food and oxygen around the body to where it's needed. Not only that, it also removes waste products such as carbon dioxide that your cells in your body produce, and they produce carbon dioxide through respiration. And an important one is they fight off infections. So the blood will transport your antibodies, or in your white blood cells, to the site of an infection to help fight it off. Why can't these substances be transported by diffusion? So we've learnt about diffusion in our first topic. Why can't they just diffuse across our body? Why does blood need to be there to transport them? Well, it's because we are large and complex organisms, making diffusion inefficient, which means we don't do it efficiently enough. We won't be able to, for example, diffuse all the oxygen we need from one area of the body to the other end of the body. So diffusion would take far too long to reach the cell in the innermost cells in our body, and this lack of speed would result in our death. Think about it. You just run a race, 100-meter race, and you need oxygen. And if you had to get that oxygen transported to the cells that's needed by diffusion, you would die. It's not fast enough, but your blood will be pumping even faster because your heart will be pumping the blood around your body really quickly to allow different organs to get oxygen. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is, once I've read this information, you are going to go to your Teams resources. You're going to click on this video, and it's going to say the heart. You're going to click on it, you're going to watch it, and you're going to make some notes. So the main parts of the circulatory system are the heart. It's a pump that forces blood throughout your blood vessels. Part of the heart, you have the arteries. These carry blood away from the heart. It's important to know the difference between arteries, veins, and capillaries. So, arteries carry blood away from the heart, deliver nutrients and oxygen to any organs and tissues that may need them. Veins carry blood back to the heart. So, arteries away from the heart, veins back to the heart. Capillaries move substances in and out of the blood. So, if anything needs to diffuse into the blood, diffuse through the capillaries. And the reason is because they are only 1 cell thick. They are so thin. Diffusion happens so efficiently. So, are there any differences between the two halves of the heart? I want you to watch the video, make some notes, and then we will come back to answer this question. So, pause your video now. Okay, now that you've watched the video, hopefully you have a better understanding of the heart. So, are there any differences between the two halves of the heart? Yes. And this is a really important thing too. If you remember this, you will not get confused in any heart-related questions as to which side is oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood. If you look at the left ventricle, so in the heart you have the 4 chambers. The left ventricle is thicker because it pumps blood all around the body, whereas the right ventricle, it only pumps blood from the lungs. And you know where the lungs are located compared to the heart? They are right there. But think about it. So the left ventricle has to pump blood from your heart all the way to your brain, to the tips of your toes. So the wall is thicker. So if you ever get a question, which is the left-hand side, which pumps oxygenated blood, all you have to remember, left ventricle thicker, therefore it is the part of the heart that pumps the oxygen around the body. Okay, so we have a little task. I would like you to look at the picture. Why do scientists say that humans have a double circulatory system? Look at the picture, pause the video while you're thinking, and then unpause it. Okay, so I'm hoping that you have looked at this picture and you've gone, okay, so there is a double circuit, so it must be double circulatory, and the reason is, first of all, blood is pumped to the lungs and returns to the heart. Then blood is pumped to respiring muscles and back to the heart again. So the first circulatory system is because blood needs to be oxygenated. So it has to be pumped to the lungs to then collect the oxygen, and it returns back to the heart. Once it returns back to the heart, it then has oxygen in the blood, which is then pumped to any respiring muscles. So remember, respiration, it's how your cells get energy, but they need oxygen. Therefore, respiration can happen. So if you have a look, deoxygenated blood is pumped from the heart to the lungs. So deoxygenated blood is pumped from the heart to the lungs. Then, in the lungs, the blood receives oxygen and is pumped back to the lungs. So if we have a look over here, we have deoxygenated blood in the lungs, collects, absorbs, diffuses oxygen into it, then gets pumped back into the heart. And remember, it's pumped back through a vein, because veins go to the heart, arteries go away from the heart. The next one, the oxygenated blood is then pumped to the rest of the body. So now we have oxygenated blood in the heart, goes through the first atrium on the left hand side, then into the left ventricle, and you can see, look at the ventricle. The muscle here is thicker than on the right hand side. That's because this then gets pumped all the way around your body. Then the next one, the oxygen leaves the blood to be used for respiration, and the blood goes back to the heart. So all the oxygen is removed from the blood, and deoxygenated blood, oxygen poor blood, is then passed back into the heart through the vena cava, which is a type of vein. Then it's pumped back out into the lungs to get oxygenated again. A little task I would like you to do. Obviously your drawing does not have to be as detailed as this. Please just quickly sketch out the heart on your whiteboard and draw arrows to show the direction of the blood moving through the heart. Hint, hint, look at the ventricle so you know. So if you pause your video now. Okay, so what you should have said is you should have said that blood comes in through the right atrium. Then see, these are valves. why do we have valves in the heart? Valves are there so that the blood doesn't go back up the wrong way to the heart. If you have a faulty valve, this can lead to heart attacks, which is not very good. This is why some people get their valves, you hear about like heart valves being replaced. That's the reason. So they're like a door. You can only go one way through the door. You cannot go back up through the door. So blood comes down, right atrium, right ventricle, back out the body. Then it comes back through the aorta to the left atrium, then left ventricle, and you can see it's thicker. Open your diagram, you drew it thicker. The left ventricle, then the right ventricle, then it gets pumped back out to the body. What I would like you to do now is, if you go to your Word document, you will find a sheet on there that will allow you to type on it, so you can send it back to me. I would like you to use the picture to describe the pulmonary circuit, and describe the systemic circuit. You must include oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in your answer. If you look at your team's sheet, I have given you sentence starters to help you out. So hopefully that will give you an idea. Set your timer for 12 minutes. Write down your answers. Then you are going to self-assess. You need to do this in a different color. If you don't self-assess, I don't know if you've actually reflected on the work. If you want to improve your work, and you should always want to improve your work. So pause, timer 12 minutes, write down your answers on the sheet in the team's assignment area. Okay, so this is the answer. This is what I've come up with. To describe the pulmonary circuit. So if you had a look, you would have known the pulmonary circuit is the deoxygenated part of the blood. And deoxygenated blood enters the heart from the body via the vena cava, which is over here. The blood enters the right atrium into the right ventricle. Valves prevent backflow. Remember, I told you, valves make sure the blood doesn't go the wrong way. The blood is then forced into the pulmonary artery, you see here, and because the heart muscles contract. So as they contract, they push. So the blood is under such high pressure, it gets pushed out, and deoxygenated blood flows into the lungs where it is oxygenated. Now, the systemic circuit. The freshly oxygenated blood over here returns to the lungs via the pulmonary veins. It travels through the left atrium into the left ventricle. Again, the valves prevent backflow. You can see the valves over here. The oxygenated blood is then forced under high pressure into the aorta. The reason it's forced under high pressure into the aorta is because it needs to pump all the way around your body. If the pressure fails in your heart, it cannot push the blood around your body. So it has to be an extremely high pressure. Then the oxygenated blood is forced around the body to deliver any needed oxygen and nutrients. If you missed out any of this information, you must please, on that Teams document, in a different colored font, write down your improved answer. So if you need a bit of time, pause the video now, look at my answers, and then correct yours. What is wrong with this picture? So we're going to go back to the picture. First of all, this is not anatomically correct. This is not what a heart looks like. But this is the version, a cartoon version of what people describe when they describe the heart. But now we know that a heart doesn't actually look like that. So, what can go wrong with the heart? I want you to think about this. The valves might leak. So you can have leaky valves. They become stiff, blocked, and they don't open fully. It makes the heart less effective. If they leak, sometimes the pressure can't get high enough, so the blood can't be pumped around the body. The heart may beat too slowly, so the cells don't get enough oxygen. For example, if you are a runner and you sprint in 100 meters, and you get to the end of 100 meters, and your heart is still beating at the same as resting rate, like when you're doing nothing and sitting on the sofa, not enough oxygen is going to be transported to the cells where they're needed. The heart may beat too quickly. This is another problem. If it beats too quickly, the blood is not pumped properly. And finally, the heart may fail completely. So sometimes you have cardiac arrest, or you could have a heart attack. Okay, so we have another little task. If a person has a problem with the valves in their heart, they could have something called a mechanical valve replacement or a biological valve replacement. Some of you may know someone who has had heart surgery to help with their valves. What you are going to do is, on your sheet, the Word document, below the task you've just done, you will find some information. You need to highlight any advantages. You can just highlight it with the tools on Word, I would say that. So say highlight any advantages in green and disadvantages in red. Don't highlight everything, please. You need to be selective. You don't want to waste your time. So you're going to spend 6 minutes doing this. So pause, set your timer for 6 minutes, and then highlight any advantages in green, any disadvantages in red, or whatever colors you choose. Make sure you put a little key so you know which color is which. Okay, so pause your video now. Okay, so this is the information that you were given. If you have correctly identified the advantages and disadvantages, the next task will be good for you. If you haven't, go back and please do this task, because you will need it for the next fit task that you're going to do. So then we have the last one. So this is going to be a 6-minute task. Now it's at the end of your Word document. A 76-year-old man needs a replacement heart valve. He lives alone and cares for himself. Choose the most suitable type of heart valve replacement for him. Are you going to pick mechanical or biological? You need to state it, but also you need to explain how you made this decision. It is a 6-mark question, which means they are looking for 6 individual points as to why you picked one or the other. So, pause the video, set your time for 6 minutes, write down your answers, then I will show you the answer, and you will self-assess it. So pause now. Okay, let's see how you did. Biological heart valve, that's the one that you want, and the reasons are they only last 10 to 20 years, but as the man is older, he may not need a replacement. This will actually save the NHS money. I know that seems quite cold, but it means the money that can then be put towards other people. There's a lower risk of blood clots. He is already elderly, so he may already be at risk from blood clots. Blood clots could result in a stroke and kill him. If he had a mechanical heart valve, he would have to take drugs every day. Remember, he lives alone and cares for himself. He might forget to take them. But also, these extra drugs every day will cost more money because he will have to take them every day. So therefore, it will cost the NHS even more money. So you can kind of see how a surgeon or doctor might look at a patient and decide which valve they might need. So I would like you to pause the video now, self-assess, correct. I want to see you give yourself a mark out of 6. How did you do? You need to then add any of the corrections to make sure that your mark goes up to 6 marks, please. And then once you have done that, you are going to submit your work back to me. If you don't submit it, remember, I can't see it, and I'll just think that you haven't done it. Okay, brilliant. Well, have a lovely day, and hopefully we'll speak soon. Okay, bye.